Who do you relate to out of the housewives the most?
I really relate to Candice.
Really?
I really relate to Candice.
Okay.
And you said she has anger management issues.
We will talk like as the clip rolls. But yeah, I don't know if I would do the things the way she would do. It seemed like she wanted negative conflict from the beginning.
Interesting.
You went on chat room and told everyone I was suing her for the down payment on my house. It was messy and it was defamatory.
It's not defamatory if she's telling me her facts.
But those were not facts.
It's hearsay because it's not first person.
You brought a statement from that raggedy asshole. End of story.
This is how Candice communicates. She's either cursing at you or crying. Get it, girl.
The emotion was everywhere. She had a little hanky. It was very theatrical.
And what advice would you give to her?
Don't be an idiot.
But what does that mean? How would you break that down?
Just don't be an idiot.
This is not helpful.
You're the expert, so...
Should we start that again?
Stop.
Yeah, let's stop. I think I get a bit stuck when you just say she's an idiot.
I think it's funny.
Because I'm having to then argue about a lot of things. Why you're calling her an idiot,
Got it, yeah.
what she can actually say.
Okay. And then start again.
Okay, great. Let's look at the clip.
Porsha, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind.
So immediately you can tell that there is emotion here. And I think that's important to foreground the whole thing. I'm seeing Candice nervous. She's talked about her anxiety on the trip.
I have felt really awful anxiety. I've talked to my mom every morning, crying to her. Like, I just feel alone. Yesterday was the first day that I did not feel like I wanted to go home.
I feel like that's kind of rising in kind of this upset.
I'm saying this only because I want to clear this up. It's the physical altercations with Bonnie. The fight itself was not what tears me apart. It was everything that happened in the aftermath. I started to see in the press all these stories that were false and that were skewed in her favor.
One of the interesting things is how Candice talks about what actually happened in that moment wasn't the really difficult thing. It was the reactions. And that's actually how the damage from trauma is defined through the way that people don't respond in an emotionally appropriate way, which means giving you that response where they're saying that thing wasn't okay, what happened. And Candice, after that altercation, which she was on the receiving end of, then had to confront the press where there were stories which manipulated the events according to her perspective. And that was really difficult for her.
I was ripped apart by people that thought that I threw a glass on somebody's face to start a fight. You went on chat room and told everyone that I was suing her for the down payment on my house, which was really hurtful to me because I didn't know you and you didn't know me either.
Monique actually said that she believes that Candice was suing her to try to get money to pay for her mother's house. I was just there for a friend who was calling me, obviously, because I've been in altercations before on the show. And we had a proper conversation about how to navigate this whole situation.
That chat room thing, was that meant to be like 2 years before?
Yes.
How long has Candice been holding on to this?
I think this is a really relevant piece here. It's like when we deliver criticism, the immediacy to when our piece of hurt or the difficult event happened is really important. The more immediate, the better. But there's no time limit to how long you can be hurt about something. And this seems to be one of the first times that Candice has actually seen Porsha in person. It's a tricky one. They're now here kind of in this trip to Thailand, and maybe it's just come up as a block. You know, I want to form a relationship with you, but I don't know how I can do that. You know, thinking about this really difficult thing that you've said.
I mean, there's no right time, but I wonder if holding on to it so long has made it bigger than it needs to be.
I agree.
Whether it's from the other end, Portia's like, I barely thought about this person. Like, I just met them several days ago and they are crying at me, what the hell?
It was messy and it was defamatory.
In this specific piece, you can see Candice labeling, and that usually creates new territory for escalation. And I'm predicting that's what's going to happen next.
It's not defamatory if she's telling me her facts.
But those were not facts. I did not sue her, and I did not need money from anyone or a down payment on my home.
Candice, you feel like it was unfair because you honored your contract, but she got a platform to speak on.
It's just a fluff opinion show. It's not, you know, an investigative reporting that goes behind it.
Is there anyone annoying you?
It is frustrating that Porsha is being quite closed off. It's hard, you know, it's hard to see that. And I know I've been in that situation where I'm sharing a piece of her and the person's really just kind of coming in this defensive kind of almost too logical way of coming back at me. And then you just don't get your message across. And then at that point is when Candice shuts down the conversation, saying we're done.
Do you not think you're being a bit too kind to Candice? I feel you're being too kind. Yeah.
What's too much empathy? What's that, Jack?
I just think like you're just being very kind to her. Like she's an idiot.
I really relate to Candice. I know I've been really hurt and it takes me a lot to bring to the table and I felt really anxious to do that. And I also know I can be really reactive in moments when things are going difficult. So for me, Candice has always been someone I really related to.
Is there anyone else you would like to relate to?
I think I relate to all of them. You know, whenever I watch these clips, I try to empathize with all the different perspectives, angles, experiences. I think that's the most important thing to do. I don't want to reiterate kind of a villain, protagonist, binary. Like that's boring. We already see a lot of that interpreted by the fans on the show. And sometimes that's how it's edited, sometimes that's how people receive it. And that's fine. That's valid and it brings something to the table, but I want to bring something different. And I think if you do put work in, you can genuinely see things from different frames. And I think that's really helpful, which is the reason why I'm doing the series.
And I use the same platform to defend Candice.
There's a lot of talk about Candice. That has bothered me because I'm like, it's not for us to judge when she gets over her mental and emotional journey of having her head banged up, and it's just unfair. And mental trauma is a big deal. This is some bull.
No, it's not. Because you're acting like I did right for you. And I did.
I defended her. It's the first time Porsha and I disagreed on chat room. I defended her in 7-Eleven when people would walk up to me and say that Candice ain't. I defended her in Whole Foods. I defended her all the time. So if I have to go on a press tour defending you, Candice, and you tell me to my face you don't appreciate it, I'm done with you.
Well, that feels like the piece about Giselle, where she obviously doesn't feel appreciated, is now overtaking the conversation, which is a shame because Candice is really trying to deliver her piece of her, and the conversation has steered.
Both for me and still wish that I had the opportunity to speak for myself. Why is that not clear?
To be honest, you should be more happy that she spoke for you because I brought hearsay. You brought that.
You brought a statement from that raggedy asshole. She texted you a statement.
It's hearsay because it's not first person. Her perspective of watching
Howard
you
University, John A. Johnson, School of Communications.
But I have the journalism job.
And
I can use my mouth. I can use my mouth and talk
Google
about
my
things.
job.
I don't have to Google anything.
We can move on.
My thoughts about Candice are helpful.
Yes.
If I had a friend who brought up problems with me when we were in large group situations, I would feel uncomfortable. I'd be like, this seems to be inviting discussion and a group committee when actually this is between you and me.
So this is a really, really relevant point. Communication expert Kim Scott, for the most part, advocates for private criticism. Because once you are in that public setting, you invite dissent as well. That's kind of part and parcel of public criticism. And that might not be what you want. But there are examples where Candice has come to some of her fellow castmates and had one-on-one conversations and they worked a bit more.
Your girl had your back.
I appreciate that a lot. Given our history and everything, the fact that you decided to approach this way, I really have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you.
Well, I have a lot of respect for you. I do think her intentions are good, ultimately.
It could be a situation where you do want to invite other people and have more moral support. You know, Whitney, for example, was support in that conversation. She says, from what I'm understanding, Candice, this is what you're saying, or this is what you believe. And I think that was a really powerful moment.
You feel like it was unfair because you honored your contract, but she got a platform to speak on.
She gave herself a platform.
So I've actually formulated what Candice could have said to Porsha.
Okay.
So you're all gonna have the wonderful opportunity to hear what she could have said. So Harry Leller's got a framework which can help us in these situations.
Here's the 5 steps to maximize your chances of being heard. Number 1, keep it short and sweet. Number 2, swap blaming with assertive claiming. Number 3, Focus on your own feelings. Number 4, avoid asking for or demanding an apology. And number 5, stand on the highest ground, whether the wrongdoer hears you or not.
A little disclaimer here. When you're feeling heated, when you're feeling anxious, it can be really difficult to say the right thing. There's no one right thing. But if we employ some of the steps that Harriet Lerner has talked about, we're going to have a higher chance of the other person hearing us. So let me read out the statement, and then I want to hear your thoughts.
Porsha, it was hard to hear you question why I took legal action against Monique, because I look up to you as a role model for black reality stars. I'm being completely open with you because I know you believe in sisterhood and being a shoulder to lean on. After the Bravo chat room, I felt like I lost your respect and that you just saw me as being petty. But taking legal action was a brave thing for me to do after being in a situation I couldn't control, and I was physically hurt. I don't blame you, but I feel like I should share my feelings openly because I really value the friendship that's growing between us.
So what do you think? That was good.
I think it's great. It's like perfect.
Well, Ethan, what do you think?
I think it's so long.
It could be even shorter, and it could still be really good and short, and there could be bits that you cut out of it. Well, speaking to the positives and speaking to things that feel genuine and true really can personalize the situation and give you a fighting chance. But at the beginning, she does say, I really want to get along with Porsha because the Atlanta Housewives inspired me.
For me, Atlanta was a group of Black women who are going to show the Black community in a light that we've never been seen in before. I always thought that Porsha was someone that I would get along with.
And Porsha has also talked about sisterhood a lot. So Porsha really values that, and she talked about that even in the earlier part of the trip.
Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to be here. I would like to have some sisterhood type of vibe happening.
It can be good to frame out these things so that when you're actually going into the conversation, you've got some of your key points that you want to say, and then kind of try and undertalk when the rest of the conversation's happening. I can imagine this was an intense thing for her, and I've tried to reflect that in the piece that I've written. If you want more tips and techniques about how you can give yourself a higher chance of being heard, then you can read my book, Why Won't You Hear Me? It's available now for free in the description below. It has some real-life case studies as well as examples from pop culture, including the Real Housewives. I think you should go and download that right now.
Why won't you hear me? I knew it. Free. Can we just use that?
I know you want me to. Jack was doing extreme things and cartwheels and stuff. As you can see, there's no resolution of this clip or this stuff. But we will find out what happens as Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Thailand comes to a close.